Monsieur Hardy pour 5 minutes, s'il vous plaît.
Mr. Hardy, you have 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. What we're seeing here is always quite interesting. We see the liberal intention. You need 4 liberals to bring you back to order as soon as things get a little bit difficult. They always feel like they have to intervene. What would the world be like without the liberals? That is the question. But now I'm going to focus on facts. That's what the minister asked us to do earlier. I think that it's important to ethics, and it's our role here. Our committee and your office exist to ensure that there are no ethical issues and to ensure that Canadians maintain their trust in our institutions. I think that you agree we need to maintain trust. The minister recused himself and then self-applied an ethics screen. We know that we talked about September 10th, 2025. That's when the letter was sent to the Prime Minister. And we were made aware of this April 7th, 2026. It's quite a gap. The minister voted 13 times. No screen was required. You didn't require a screen. The minister decided to implement one, and there was a reason for that. When we're told to stop inventing things, and he said we shouldn't make false allegations. But as parliamentarians, how can we ensure that Canadians can trust the system when nothing was made public and we only find out after the fact? How can we ensure that things are done ethically when your office can't even tell us when a screen has been, or when a screen has been activated, so that we know whether or not it was truly activated? How does that work? Because I feel like we're going around in circles. When we require a screen, we publish the information online. Everybody knows the context. If not, I will launch an investigation if needed. In this case, that's not the matter at hand. We didn't require a screen. The minister decided to do this himself. This had nothing to do with us. He needs to defend himself to you. But I didn't require that. I understand. I understand that there are rules, and you came here to tell us that an appearance of a conflict of interest should be added to the legislation, and I see that you want to be proactive. But how can people trust their institutions when somebody applies their own screen, does not follow it, and then you say that there was a screen, but nobody can access the discussions, your proposals? And earlier, the minister was here, and he said that it's important to be transparent. It's important to ensure that people maintain their trust. But he could ask you to publish all those discussions. Would that not help Canadians' trust? You didn't require it. He did it himself of his own volition. So perhaps people should know that there's nothing to hide. He came to say that it's up to you to do it, but now you're saying that no, it's up to him. Would it not be beneficial for him to just reveal the entire process? You're asking me to comment on the actions of a minister and what he did voluntarily. The screen has nothing to do with us. We didn't ask for one. That's not my question. But what were the results? Does it help the Canadians' trust? That's what you want me to comment on. But I want to know if you think it could help, because we asked him earlier. Everybody, the Liberals voted against disclosing that. But do you not say that it would help the public's trust that we have access to this information? It would be relevant for the Ethics Committee to see that everything was, in fact, done correctly. If he wants it to be made public, he can ask me to. Can you tell us why the minister decided to impose a screen on himself? You can't tell us? Because there's an article that says why. He was here. He could have told you. I think he did. It was out of an abundance of caution. There's a reason. The minister perhaps saw that there could be a potential conflict of interest. It came out. I just wanted to ensure in asking the question because I was told that I was inventing facts. So what was shared in the media is that his wife is a VP at ALTO. So he saw that there could be a problem, and that's why he imposed a screen on himself, because there could be a perception of a conflict of interest there. You talked about the general application rule, and it was mentioned many times. If execs are giving themselves bonuses, and these bonuses will benefit the household, is that still of general application, whether we're talking about ALTO or any other project? If a minister has an impact on a project that will put money into his household or into their household, is that still of general application or no? I'm not saying that it's premeditated. I'm saying, is this still of general application? You're asking a real hypothetical. It's not hypothetical. Well, we would need to look at all of the aspects of the situation to see whether or not there is a conflict of interest. But there could be. It's possible. Depending if you give me a concrete example with facts. So at that point, there would be an ethics screen. So a limit would need to be imposed because there were decisions that would impact one's family, and then it's no longer of general application. If there's a conflict of interest, the general application rule does not apply. The rule starts with the situation where it's a general decision that could have an impact on your partner or your family, but it has an impact on everyone as well. I understand the concept, and you said it earlier, if it's in one's interest. So if it's in the interest of a friend or a partner or of anyone with close ties, well, that could be potentially problematic, so a screen would need to be implemented. So I'm just trying to understand how many steps are needed before you say that there is a conflict of interest. In the legislation, the minister tabled the budget, giving accelerated powers to this project. His wife is a part of this project, but you said there's no direct link. It's under the Minister of Transport, but this project gives bonuses to its execs. So how many steps do we need before you say that there's a conflict of interest? If you're saying that there's no conflict of interest here, then we could do anything, that the general application is really, really general. The Minister of Finance has a large portfolio. Budget decisions have an impact on all of government. They will have implications for many people. So nothing could be a problem then. Well, what's the connection between one and the other? If you can explain a direct nexus, well, that's my question for you. I'm trying to question this whole process. You're talking about a general application rule. It's a Minister of Finance. I understand that you make choices for the country. So every decision that a finance minister makes, well, you can say, well, it's in the budget. It's going to have an impact on everyone. How can we ensure that Canadians know that there's a commissioner who is independent, who will be able to ensure that these kinds of ethical situations don't arise? Thank you, Mr. Hardy. A brief response, please, Commissioner, if you can. No? The legislation has the general application rules. It's in the Act. I get to interpret it and apply it. We could have differences of opinion on this specific case, but the rule is there. And we need to apply it when it needs to be applied in order to ensure that we maintain the public's trust.
Je vais donner...
I'll give 2.5 minutes to Mr. Bonin, and then Ms. Lapointe will have 5 minutes. Mr. Bonin, 2.5 minutes. Thank you, Chair. Earlier, you said that the minister said that he was putting in place this screen to ensure there was no conflict of interest. You can make that published. You could make that public. Yes. If he asks me to. If he asks, can you make it public without him asking? The commissioner has to follow the rules of the legislation. Unless the screen is required, any information that is given to us is confidential. That's not what I understood earlier. He cannot make it public unless it is required by the legislation or that information remains confidential. Section 5110, I can publish specific things and any other document that I deem relevant. Explain, please. There were articles in newspaper. We want more transparency. We want people to trust their institutions. Should people not be able to know that there was a solid screen, that the minister did his job, ensured that there was no conflict of interest? You have the opportunity to make this public and rebuild trust, but you don't want to do that because you don't think it would help transparency? There's a provision that says that all conversations with the minister are confidential. Both provisions are in the law. It's confidential unless I've been asked to publish it, unless the minister asks that it be published.